Well, the Energy Department setting its sights on $13 billion in subsidies that were earmarked under the Biden administration to help fight climate change. This comes after President Trump's address to the United Nations dismissing climate change as a, quote, con job. Energy Secretary Chris Wright joins us now. Mr. Secretary, thank you for taking the time. I wanted to start off by playing what the president said at the UN the other day. Listen here.
This climate change, it's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion. The primary effect of these brutal green energy policies has not been to help the environment, but to redistribute manufacturing and industrial activity from developed countries that follow the insane rules that are put down to polluting countries that break the rules and are making a fortune.
And as you can imagine, as you know, that drew a sharp response from some Democrats, including Hillary Clinton, who said this.
You know, yesterday at the UN, President Trump said, climate change is a hoax, because it's just total disinformation. It's it's a statement that is just not true, and yet being propagated.
Well, to be clear, he didn't say it was a hoax. He said it was a con job. But what would you say to the former secretary?
Oh, I think President Trump nailed it right on, clearly, and in straight common sense language. Look, the UN climate hysteria has led to $5 trillion spent on wind, solar, batteries, and grid infrastructure to enable them to connect up to the grid. They've just hit 2.6% of global energy. And everywhere they've had meaningful penetration, you've had higher energy prices, higher electricity prices, higher energy prices overall. And as the president rightfully said, that's just move industries out of Germany and England and the United States and shipped them all to China. Huge win for China, huge loss for American citizens, huge waste of $5 trillion. And it slowed energy access for people that want to live better lives. Like, can you name a bigger con job than that?
So as part of all of this, the Department of Energy is going to claw back $13 billion in unspent funds from the Green New Deal. Here's what the release from the DOE said. The Department of Energy is working to advance its critical mission of unleashing affordable, reliable, and secure energy for all Americans while increasing efficiency and promoting better stewardship of taxpayer dollars. The release did not say specifically what those funds, that $13 billion, had been earmarked to fund. Can you shine some more light on that for us?
So these $13 billion were actually never allocated to anything. They allocated hundreds of billions of dollars to green energy projects and make cars electric. These things Americans don't want to buy, higher prices Americans don't want to tolerate. These $13 billion were still never allocated. So no point in doubling down on investing in things that have worked out so poorly for the American people. That's over $100 per American family in savings. And if you look at the total Biden expenditures on this Green New scam, it's thousands of dollars for every American family. And guess what? We got 82% of our energy from hydrocarbons when Biden got inaugurated, and 82% of our energy from hydrocarbons when President Trump got inaugurated. That's why President Trump got elected, to just stop this nonsense, start focusing on people and not a climate cult.
So the president was dunking all over renewable energy at the United Nations. I want to play here what he said.
We're getting rid of the falsely named renewables. The wind doesn't blow. Those big windmills are so pathetic and so bad, so expensive to operate. Then they have to be rebuilt all the time, and they start to rust and rot. Most expensive energy ever conceived. You're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money.
So the president said they're the most expensive energy ever conceived. You're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money. But a Lazard report from June of this year said this: utility-scale solar and onshore wind remain the most cost-effective forms of new build energy generation on an unsubsidized basis, i.e. without tax subsidies. As such, renewable energy will continue to play a key role in the build-out of new power generation in the U.S. as the lowest cost and quickest to deploy generation. How do you reconcile those two things?
So Lazard has been saying this for years. Unfortunately, it's sort of a politicized investment bank, and they do a thing called levelized cost of energy. How much total cost to produce divided by how much energy comes out. Wind and solar provide energy that has exactly 0 customers for. Energy when the wind's blowing, energy when the sun's shining. When the sun goes behind a cloud, is your kid's incubator going to go off in the hospital? Of course not. So when you really look at the cost of wind and solar, you have to say, what is the system cost of delivering reliable energy with these sort of ornaments on the electricity grid? And JP Morgan put out a study quite recently showing the more solar, and the same thing is true, even worse for wind, the more solar you put on the system, the more you drive up the system costs. If we were 100% solar, electricity would be 10 times more expensive than 100% natural gas. You only want 60% solar? Well, electricity is only like two times more expensive than it is with just natural gas. So they're just not true. They're just they're doing math that makes no sense. They're comparing apples to oranges. They keep doing it. They keep hearing it's wrong, and they keep doing it, which tells you they're doing it for political reasons, not serious economic analysis reasons.
One more question, Mr. Secretary, if I could. This is my favorite topic. Gasoline prices, AAA average right now across the country, $3.15 a gallon. It's lower than last year, but only by about 6 cents. And diesel is actually more expensive now than it was a year ago. Are you happy with where gas prices are now?
Well, look, on an inflation-adjusted basis, gasoline prices are on the low end of where they've been for the last 20 years. We always want them lower. We'd love that number to start with a 2. I think you may see that this coming fall. Everything President Trump is doing is to push down heating prices, electricity prices. Of course, in electricity, we inherited a train wreck from the Biden administration. That's going to take longer to turn that ship. But in diesel prices, why are diesel prices higher? Because some of our efforts and our sanctions on Russia are starting to bite. Russia exports diesel energy into the marketplace. A little bit of that has been taken off of the marketplace. It's nudged up the price of diesel. I wish we could get diesel prices down. I think we'll see them go down. But there is a little bit of a pressure on Russia premium baked into diesel right now.
All right. Mr. Secretary, always good to spend time with you. Thank you very much for taking it this afternoon.